Troy Van Leeuwen, welcome to Australian Musician.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, how have you been handling this COVID year, and how you doing?
Well, I've been spending a lot of time indoors, and I'm okay with that. But I'm trying to make the best of it. It's really hard to get into playing a lot of music because I love playing with my friends and I like playing live. So there's not much of that going on, but I'm making do, recording stuff here and there via, I have a home studio, so anybody can send me a session and I can put stuff on it and send it back. So I've been getting by doing that, and I'm cooking a lot and hanging out with my family.
Yeah.
So that's how I get by.
You certainly haven't been idle. You've got new music out with your project Gone Is Gone.
Sure, yeah.
It's a very different sounding band to Queens of the Stone Age. How important is it for you to mix up your musical projects?
I think it's pretty important. First of all, it's, like I was saying earlier, I like to play with my friends. I like to play with people that I respect. And, when, we started this record quite a while ago. So we did a lot of it in the same room together. And so there was a good base there for all the music. So for me, it's, all these different projects that I get involved with. I want them to be as unique as possible, and to, usually I want to step away from Queens because Queens is its own sort of universe. And for me to, go off and do something else, first of all, I get to experience that magic with someone else, and then whatever I learn, then I bring back to Queens, So it's always kind of a give and take understanding that we've always had in the Queens. And the guys in Gone is Gone are also in pretty reputable bands as well. We've got Mastodon at the Drive-In, and they've done, they've cut their teeth on as Queens, if not longer. So we have a good understanding with all that stuff. It's pretty great.
Yeah. Of course, the other thing that you've got happening this year is the guitar that you're holding, your new signature Jazzmaster.
The space, yeah,
Um,
sure.
was there a signature guitar that you wanted when you were growing up?
That's funny you asked that. The first signature guitar I got was a Les Paul. That's a signature guitar. But there weren't many when I was younger, when I was first starting out. But along the way, as the years have passed, there's been more and more. And I'll tell you one that I really enjoy right now is the Billy Duffy White Falcon. I really like that guitar. I love the Cult, since the beginning, and I always thought his playing was really interesting, and I've always loved White Falcons, but his is really cool because it doesn't have gold hardware, it's silver. I like silver hardware. So I've been playing with that one a lot. It's a really another interesting one that not many people know about. There's the Noel Gallagher Epiphone. It's like a 335, but it's got a pickup selector switch up here instead of down here. So learning up, most of my electric guitar stuff younger, it was all on a Les Paul. So I like the switch. Excuse me. I like the switch up here.
Yeah.
I do a lot of switching between instruments and stuff with Queens, and not only is it a good, you get a different tone up here. It's a good kill switch too if you turn off the volume. So
Yeah.
multi-purpose use for me.
So, what attracted you to the Jazzmaster initially?
Initially, over the years, I always am looking for something new to try, and it's about 10, 12 years ago. I got I got a Jaguar. I found a '63 Jaguar that was in kind of rough shape, but I fixed it up, and I used it quite a bit on like Era Vulgaris and also my other band Sweethead. But I really gravitated towards the Jazzmaster because it's a little more versatile for me because it's got a longer scale neck, and a lot of my bands, with Queens and Gone's Gone, there's some tuning down. So when you have a longer scale neck, that the strings don't get so floppy. There's tension that it still maintains.
In 2014, Fender honoured you with your first signature Jazzmaster. How cool was that? The first time you took delivery of the finished product.
Yeah, I mean, it was, not only was the color just perfection. Yeah, I mean, when you see your signature on the back of a neck like this, you're like, I didn't think that was going to happen when I was 13 and I started playing guitar. So it's kind of a dream come true. And, you just kind of feel like you can check something off the bucket list, It's kind of one of those things where, I'm proud of it. And I can honestly say to every kid out there that wants to buy my guitar, that it's something that I use on stage. The majority of the set. So it's not just like a thing that I put my name on. It's something that I use quite a bit.
So when they came to you and said they'd like to do another one, what were your first thoughts?
Well, my first thoughts was like, why change something that's working so well? Like don't mess it up. But I started thinking about it, and I kind of have these two sides of my personality. The Oxblood one kind of represents like, my love for, goth music and just sort of post-punk alternative, what we used to call alternative, back in the 80s, stuff like The Cure and like Elvis Costello, and like the Smiths. So I kind of have a love for that style of guitar playing and that aesthetic. But this one kind of, the color, first of all, is called Copper Age, and it's got a maple fretboard instead of a rosewood. So it's actually an almost polar opposite aesthetically of what my Candy Oxblood guitar is. But I figured, I might as well change it up and not just change the color, but change the sound a little bit and the, just kind of make it a little bit more different. So to me, this kind of reminds me of the other part of my personality, which is kind of an homage to the Queens and where the Queens started in the desert. And, I think of certain colors when I think of the desert, and sort of oranges and golds and just brightness all the time. This is kind of my summer guitar, It's kind of like my surf guitar, kind of like stoner rock guitar.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the philosophy was. I might as well change it up, and make it a different instrument almost.
What do the two, the rosewood and the maple necks, fingerboards, what subtle differences do they give you as a player?
Well, if basically for me, I'm always trying to get like a great attack from a single coil guitar like this, and the rosewood is nice. It's got a nice round sound to it. And so it's more for the, for like the older Queen sound. It's got a nice high mid as well. So, but this one's all attack. It's brighter, and I wouldn't say it's got more treble. I would just say it's got more of an attack and more of a clearness, a clarity, which what my rhythm playing in the Queens is usually full bar chords, like, so you can hear every note. And I want to hear that in the guitar. So even if you're putting overdrive and stuff on this guitar, you're hearing all the notes in a chord. And I wanted something a little more wiry like that. So that's what it does for me. It's subtle, but I notice it, and for me, I don't want the same guitar. I want guitars to have differences. I want them to be different instruments. So I figured that this is definitely a difference.
Yeah. Is the pickup switching the same as the other model?
Yeah, it is. That's the only differences are aesthetically and tonally on the neck. The pickup selector is still right here, and yeah, it's something I use constantly in a live setting. So that's the one thing I've changed on the Jazzmaster, because I've learned one thing about people that like Jazzmasters, that it's like a thing, you gotta respect what it is. You gotta respect what the guitar is and how people have used it over the years, and I didn't want to change anything else on it. I wanted to keep it very much like a stock mid '60s Jazzmaster.
Yeah. Did you use your tone and volume knobs much, or do you get your sound variations in other ways?
In a live setting, it's easier for me usually have them up all the way or off all the way. Occasionally, like on the bass circuit, yeah, there's a couple of songs. If I want to use that circuit, it's really nice to kind of roll off the tone a little bit and get that really warm kind of bass thing that comes with the Jazzmaster. So, but most of the time I'm using pedals. Yeah.
Yeah. How important is the balance of the guitar, like the weight of the body compared to the top end of the guitar, the way it just falls off your shoulders? Is that important to you?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's certain guitars that I cannot play live, and it's just because they're neck heavy, and I just feel like I'm holding something while I'm trying to play it, rather than like this guitar is perfectly balanced. So for me, it's not too heavy, but it still sits like a certain way. It just sits on your body right here. The contours here and the contours here. It just fits perfectly. So I can let go of the guitar and the neck does not drop. I've tried to play SGs live, and I've never even tried to play like a Firebird, like Gibson Firebird. Those are way too neck heavy for me. They sound great, but those are studio guitars for me. I have to sit down and play them. So yeah, it's really important for me, for sure.
How do you like your guitar set up in regard to action? Do you like a slick fretboard, or do you like a bit of space between the strings to dig in?
I like to dig in. Yeah, I don't like the action to be too close. I like to I like to hit hard, and I like to slap the neck. I like to hit and make it. To me, that's part of my tone. So I like to dig in. So it's right now we're probably about, I don't know, 2 millimeters on the top. So yeah, I like a little bit of action higher. It's just a preference for me.
With the tonal range of this guitar, I imagine it's a guitar that you could use for most of your projects.
Yeah, it is. The versatility of this guitar, I can get the woofiest, creamiest, bluesiest sound from the bass circuit all the way up to the most aggressive, angular, treble bridge pickup sound that you would hear from like a Tele, or maybe even a Strat. But yeah, this is my workhorse. Like for Gone is Gone, I have one guitar that I use, and it's my '62 reissued Jazzmaster. But I've replaced the insides with this because I like the pickups on this better. And it's the Gone is Gone guitar, and that's it. And then for Queens, I have one set up for a low tuning, and I have one set up for straight up E tuning. So I'm using my Jazzmaster on stage about 80% of the time. I mean, I get whatever I need out of it, and it's just when you're in the heat of the moment of something that might inspire you to play or do something or record. It's just the first guitar I grab because I can get at least a few things out of it right away, And so that's been helpful for me.
Yeah. Is there a particular recorded guitar part of yours that you're really proud of?
Well, I mean, there's a lot I can think of, but something that really comes to mind off the top of my head was on the last Queens record, Villains. There's a song called Head Like a Haunted House. And Josh was like, dude, just rip a solo really quick. And I don't even remember doing it. It just came out of me like, whew. And so there's a solo in that song that I played that I don't even know where it came from, but it was really a fun experience to in 2 takes get this thing that everyone was like, that's good enough for me. So I like moments like that where you're kind of thrown on the spot and it's up to you to just kind of make it happen. I was really happy with that,
You played with some amazing frontmen, all very different. Is there something that they all have in common?
Wow, no. I mean, not that they all have in common. I mean, it takes a certain personality to go out in front and sing, I recognize in myself that I don't have that thing, and I don't, sometimes I look at, Josh or look at Maynard, they're completely different stylistically and the way they sing but yeah, there's the common thread is that there's a certain personality trait that you need to kind of have this confidence that's sort of almost unwavering, where you're doing something good and you're connecting with people. That's something that I admire in both of them. And working with Iggy Pop was another sort of dream come true, where you're watching the master who has inspired all of us, and somebody who's seen everything and done everything and been through everything and still around, and now he just likes to read poetry and drink red wine. He's it's kind of inspiring to see him come of age and still bleed every night on stage. So yeah, I think there's one common thing. There's just a certain kind of character, I guess, attribute in all 3 of those guys I can think of. It's just a confidence of I want to reach each person in this room, and if I'm going to find the one person that's not into it and sell it to them. That's what I think they all have.
Yeah. Last week I was talking to James Williamson, the Raw Power guitarist.
Oh yeah.
And we were talking about Iggy. When you joined Iggy's tour, was the day after Bowie had died, I believe.
So yes, the day after, actually the morning. So Bowie died late in the night, I believe, or late overnight. So that that morning, that same day, basically, Iggy flew in from Florida to LA to do the first rehearsal for that tour. And I don't think I've ever had an experience like it, because it was very heavy. And he was obviously, because we were playing all the stuff off The Idiot and off of Lust for Life. I mean, and then also we were, playing new stuff that people hadn't heard yet, off of the post-pop depression record. But I mean, I just remember as we were playing The Passenger, I couldn't believe how much that Bowie was a big part of those records, and you could tell that Iggy was in a way that it was sad. It was sad, but it was also inspiring to me because it's like he had to sing through it. That sadness is so deep that the only thing that could make him get through it was singing those songs. It seemed to me that was what was going on, and I'll never forget it. I mean, everybody in the room just shut their mouths and played the set, which was like 80% of The Idiot, 80% of Lust for Life, and then the rest was other stuff. But it just, I mean, nobody said a word the whole time until after we were done playing. And then he went to talk to a journalist for the LA Times right after the set. And just like a professional, like just kind of went, okay, I'm talking to you now. Mm. But I know, he was affected deeply by it. And we all were. I mean, I'm a huge Bowie fan as well. So, yeah. But those are the kind of times in music where you're like, when if you have moments like that, you take them and you carry them with you, and you use them to draw upon in your own work.
Yeah. Wikipedia tells me you turned 50 earlier in the year before COVID hit. How did you celebrate?
The funny thing is, it's funny. I didn't really. My birthday, it's right at the beginning of the year, but it's right after. It's the 5th of January, so it's right after New Year's. So by the time my birthday comes around, nobody wants to celebrate. You've got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas, you've got Hanukkah, you've got all these, and then New Year's where everyone parties. 4 days later, they don't want to go to your birthday party, or they don't want to do anything. They're still recovering. So I decided to learn how to snowboard. I went up to Tahoe and did something silly like, I'm 50, I'm going to learn how to snowboard now. So my ass hurt for a couple of days after that. But I enjoyed it. That's how I celebrated.
So what are your revised plans for 2020?
I'm literally like waiting to get into a room with Queens and start whatever we're going to do next. When that's going to happen is still kind of up in the air, but that's the one thing that's keeping me positive, because it's time. It's time we make another record. So, and I've got the like Reading and Leeds Festival next summer. It's something I'm looking forward to. But we got to get there. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? The world's crazy right now. So, yeah, for me, finishing up records like Gone Is Gone, which is, an interesting project to be a part of. It's constantly changing and it's constantly evolving. And COVID definitely affected the outcome of that record. So I'm looking forward to getting... I don't know if we'll go back to normal, what normal was, but I need to get a little bit of that back.
Yeah.
'Cause, I'm a performer. I'm somebody who thrives on an audience, and I can't imagine a world where we're not playing live music. So it has to go back. Otherwise, people are they're gonna destroy everything. That's how I really feel.
Yeah.
If people can't have like their outlets, like going to a show is a great way to blow off steam. It's a great way to sing and dance and enjoy life. And there's just too much crazy stuff going on, and I think it'll be bad for the world if we don't get that back.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's sooner rather than later. Troy.
I agree.
Troy Van Leeuwen, thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you down here in Australia soon.
I hope to be there very soon too. I missed it down there, and I want to see you.
Yeah, I want to see you too.
Okay, man. Thanks.
Thank you.